Hello, hello. Let me get this camera right. I'm right here. Okay, good night. Doing a late night reading session. Wanted to get some reading in. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of like I guess excited somewhat of actually reading and getting into this language. I'm starting like a lot of courses all at the same time, and they're giving me different bits and things to look at, which is good. Um, but I did want to test out the new setup I have here. Let's see here, desk. So got this new setup, or a little bit of an addition to the setup here. So I got this arm, and then I got a light here, and I got a book. So we're gonna do some reading tonight. Uh, of I in the community chat, or in the community tab. Sorry, I'm a little bit, I guess, tired. But in the community tab, I put in some videos about Go. One was just a moment ago talking about the Primogen, talking about Go versus Rust, which one you should use and when. Um, and that was a year ago. And it seems like, it's still pretty much holding true in terms of like people are looking for Go developers. I got a little bit further in the book. I've been reading it here and there, but not too much in terms of a large block of time. One thing I have been looking through is the Golang docs. Um, let's see here. Screen full. There we go. So I've been going through the Golang docs, just doing this on my phone. So this is working out pretty well in terms of like having it as a resource. I'm happy for that. Actually, let me make sure that we got. Um, Perfect. All right. Hey, listen, those that catching a replay, I appreciate you so much. I hope this helps you in some way, shape, or form. As a person that is a developer, systems and software engineer, and how I study and what I do to push myself along. Last stream, I talked about, hey, one of the things that I'm noticing is that a lot of my knowledge is old. I haven't really learned anything new, nothing major, I would say. A lot of the stuff, I'm relying a lot on my old knowledge. Now, that doesn't mean I am not learning anything new at all, but I've just noticed this is like I, I'm behind. There's a lot more that I could have gone deeper by now in so many different ways. So I'm trying to correct that. So Golang Docs has been working out fairly well. I do want to read through this because I've heard about this in probably about two other places, writing effective Go, and putting that together. So, but I think actually something like this would be like, okay, hey, you've already read the or read or gone through an introduction to Go video, and then you're going back to refine your knowledge. So that's the effective Go link. So in the last stream, this is one of the links that was in there. Of course, Go Playground. I think I downloaded this picture already. Um, and I'm trying to look for like linters and stuff. I'm trying to understand that. One of the big things is I'm trying to uh, salty balls. Hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, so far so good, man. Yeah, it's been good. What's it called? Just I'm tired tonight. I just came from working out. Um, but I do want to get some reading in before I go to bed. I don't know how to make these comments disappear. Like I don't know what it is that makes it disappear. It's kind of weird. Actually, let's see if we can figure that out because that is a little bit on the weird side. Not that I don't want your comment up there, but it's taking a while for it to go down. Um, and this is another, a refinement stream, so to speak. Automatically hide comment after 30 seconds. Okay, maybe it's just too long. All right, cool. All right, so let's put that back up there. Salted bowls. So, yeah, going a little bit deeper into Go and studying more, getting the different resources. I bought some Udemy courses, but I am also looking at this free YouTube course right now. on Free Code Camp. Okay, so that disappeared faster. So it's just a longer time period. So on Free Code Camp has a website, and then of course a very well known YouTube channel. They have a Go introduction to Go video, or a Go crash course actually. That's about 4 years old now, so still viable. One thing I was testing out earlier today is this whole new setup here in terms of like how I'm gonna make this all work. So I got my Go book here, which is gonna be kind of like my go-to resource, so to speak. I don't know. I'm feeling like a little bit maybe just older, so to speak. It's just, hey, listen, I want to read instead, so I'm doing that. All right. So what we're gonna do is set up my phone as a camera. Um, I was thinking about buying a whole new camera, and then I was like, I could use my phone. Yeah, let's do that. So let's take this thing out of sleep mode. All right. So I got this holder. It's a Lamicall, Lamicall. Sorry if I sound a little bit down. I've been having a headache. Had a lady friend over last night, so I didn't get much sleep, and then of course worked the whole day. Had a 8 o'clock meeting, so went through that. Or been on calls, I should say, since 8 o'clock. Um, okay, so what we can do is I should be able to bring in my iPhone as a camera. Okay, cool. All right, so got the iPhone as a camera. Excuse me. Now, one thing I noticed about this, like for instance, I have desk in place right now, or I have this on desk, and I don't totally like what this does. So I'm gonna turn this back to desk, and then I'm going to go to um probably like interview, maybe interview split. I could do this on, and then I can select my camera. Okay, I have to unlock this. And appreciate those that have liked the stream thus far. Okay. All right. And then I don't think I needed this. Just a little bit overkill. I'm overkill on most things, but I'm really overkill when it comes to lighting. Uh, Lighting is a big thing for me. Like I have more than enough overhead light, but let's get an even brighter reading light. Oh yeah, I think this will work out very well. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. So let's start reading. So I'm up to chapter three, composite types in this book. Again, this is O'Reilly's Learning Go, an idiomatic approach to real world Go programming. So what did I go over here? So last stream talking with Metal Universe, the difference between signed and unsigned, and I looked up a simple definition. A signed integer is an integer that has negative values, and an unsigned no, yeah, unsigned integer is a an integer that has no negative values, but then it has a higher positive value range, and that is shown here. So um, with this here, so for instance, a uint8. Okay, yeah, this does look good. I like this. So I won't be zooming in on this or anything like that. I don't want to mess with the camera too much. I won't say it's finicky or sensitive, but there are things that I notice where I'm like, oh, that doesn't really look good. Actually, maybe what I can do it here. Okay, cool. I could do that. Cool. So I'll keep my mouse here. So you'll see here, and I'll just read everything basically through the camera. Um, but you'll see an int8 has a negative 128 value to 127. And then, of course, it's 127 because 0 is counted as, of course, a number. All right. But then if you see a uint8 or unsigned integer, that has 0 to 255. So 0 to 255, pretty much it's a higher positive range than it is the negative, because it doesn't have that negative. And the same thing goes for a UNT 64. You'll see that it goes to like 18 something versus 9 something. I haven't counted how many digits or how many characters to compare the two, but you could pretty much see that, or from all the other numbers, I can see here that it pretty much doubles it. So whereas this right here, you need a book scanner, bro. How would that help? BGS, like, how do you think that would help? Because I got this whole setup here. Um, Pretty much, I got this whole setup where I got the my phone acting as a wireless camera through the software I use, and then this light. But yeah, would that help? Like, oh, and I know you're probably the one sharing, man. So I appreciate you so much, BGS. Love you to life, brother. Love you to life, for real. But yeah, this is my whole setup here. Is where I got the camera set up and then everything else there. But yeah, let me know how a book scanner would help in some of these situations too. I don't know, like maybe, and then also this could probably be. I could probably find this on the internet as a PDF. I probably don't want to directly share that out. Pirated books and stuff like that. But yeah. Anyways, uh, so yeah, that's the difference between a signed integer or an integer and an unsigned integer or a signed integer in this case. So that's something new that I learned. And honestly, one of the reasons why I want to go a little bit deeper or learn a newer language like a Go, maybe even Python later on, is because I want to work more with numbers and number crunching and understanding the difference in terms of what programs are good for mathematics and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of like that's a really good thing to know and get to understand, and what processor does what in terms of Freeman's Journal. Good night, sir. I appreciate you as always, man, showing up and showing out. All right, so let's go back here. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting about integers in terms of like what I've learned recently. Literals and booleans. Another thing is, statically typed languages versus a dynamically typed language. A dynamically typed language allows you to get away with so much more, but it causes a lot of problems when it comes to debugging and runtime issues, and things that you just don't see, because you're dealing with variables, integer, or you're dealing with variables that you don't understand typing or what have you, and it kind of gets lost in the sauce. When you have something that's statically typed, it's almost like a built-in linting, so to speak, and it gets rid of so many of the issues that you would probably face or suffer, because uh, your code is not statically typed, or types aren't respected. So I thought that was like pretty good as you go into like further into as I go further into like programming, coding, and things like that. Um, What's else? Yeah, we already did all this stuff or went through this. I have started that a new video. Um, Learn Go programming. So we'll look at that for a second. So learn Go programming. This one is I was watching some like other stuff before I did all this. But learn Go programming off of freecodecamp.org. There's so many resources, as we know, as people that are on YouTube. Let's go learn Go programming. As people that that frequent YouTube, that are always on YouTube for one reason or another. There's just we know this as YouTube University. That's what like my business partners always called it for a long time. It's just like this is such a wealth of knowledge and what you can do. Now this tutorial, by the way, is 4 years old. There are, I'm sure, other tutorials and other things that are out there. Especially if you get like a Udemy course, that's the benefit, because a lot of these courses, even this one, is probably a Udemy course or some other Udacity or some other online learning platform course. But what's nice is, you have this knowledge, albeit 4 years old. In some cases, some of the articles that we were reading, even the other day, are from 2019, or have not been updated since then. So that's not something that should deter you from saying, okay, this is a good source of knowledge. Even this book notes certain things that have been since deprecated, or just are not supported anymore. But yeah, let's go back to this bad boy here. All right, composite types. All right, let's see here. Yeah, but BGS, tell me about a book scanner. What would that like? What would be the benefit of that if you're still in the chat? All right. In the last chapter, we looked at simple types, numbers, booleans, and strings. In this chapter, we'll learn about the composite types in Go, the built-in functions that support them, and the best practices for working with them. Arrays too rigid to use directly. Like most programming languages, Go has arrays. However, arrays are rarely used directly in Go. We'll learn why in a bit. But first, we'll quickly cover array declaration and syntax use, or declaration, syntax, and use. All of the elements in the array must be of the type that's specified. This doesn't mean they are always in this. They are always of the same type. That's interesting. So, I mean, when I hear this, I'm thinking about like if I have an array of ints, they're all gonna be int. Wow, that is that is pretty strict. That I'm not used to that. I'm used to having maybe an array of mixed variable types or mixed types. All of the elements in an array must be of the types that's specified. This doesn't mean they are always of the same type. Okay, yeah. There are a few different declaration styles. In the first, you specify the size of the array and the type of the elements in the array. All right, so var x 3 int. So that should be 3 items within that array. I'm questioning this because it's like 3 items in the array. I want to see this. Oh, okay, so it is 3 items. This creates an array, and this is pretty cool, what you're going to show next. This creates an array of 3 ints. Since no values are specified, all of the positions x position 1 or square bracket 0, or index 0, index 1, index 2, are initialized to 0 or initialized to the 0 value for an int. So they talked about 0 values previously in this book. Every type has a 0 value. Um, I'm not sure what boolean would have, what this boolean value would be. The 0 type for it would be, but for a string, it would just be a blank string or an empty string, meaning no, not even a space. Um, Value for an int, which is of course 0. If you have initial values for arrays, you specify them with an array literal. Array literal. Var x and 3 int. Okay, so it happens before the type declaration. But is that an array? Is that how you write an array? I just like, this is kind of weird to me that you write an array with curly braces like that. If you have a sparse array, an array where most elements are set to the 0 values, you can specify only the indices with values in the array literal. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So this is pretty cool in short syntax. Like for instance, if you have an array and it may have like 1,000 places, but then all of those, let's see here, Oppo. I want to pick up the skill to program, but I don't know if that's feasible as a truck driver, bro. I won't say like it's the easiest or anything like that, but to be very honest, you guys have more than enough time as truck drivers. I mean, what, you're expected to drive 16 and rest 8 or something like that is how it works for you guys, and then you have mandatory breaks. I mean, the biggest thing is you got to want to do it. You got to really want to take this time. Like right now, I could be watching a movie. I could be under some girl's tail or something like that. I could be doing other things, but I want to take the time to read, to get more information, get more knowledge, so on and so forth. So you really got to just want it, man. And that's your biggest thing is if you want it. So you driving a truck or not, that doesn't stop you from getting pussy. That doesn't stop you from talking to your homeboys about a game or anything else. That doesn't stop you from watching YouTube videos and other things. The link that I have earlier on in the chat, that's actually that is what is that? That is a video for, oh man, what is that again? That is a tutorial video that's like about 7 hours long. Yeah, 6 hours and 39 minutes and 57 seconds. So a little under 7 hours long. So you have more than enough time and opportunity. But the thing you have to really do is be honest with yourself. Do you want to do it? And I honestly, like, I don't say that to rag on you in any way, shape, or form, but I go through this myself as well. And sometimes I just have to admit to myself, I don't want to do it. So just be honest with yourself, man. You may just not want to actually do it. Like, you may have a desire to, but you don't have any conviction or motivation to do it. So, and we see this all the time. Um, I thought you were going to be reading on the weekend. Yeah, I was going to do some catch up, but I decided I wanted to test this whole setup out here and go through this a little bit. Mostly, like, what's going to happen on the weekends will be like going over some of the things that I've learned throughout the week with my studies. But I really did want to test out this new setup here where I have the arm and then the light. Yeah, bro. I mean, I'm not getting on you by any means, man, because I talked to other brothers that are truck drivers. I mean, brother Grinch, is a truck driver, man, and I think he does quite a bit of learning and some other stuff, and maybe even some other business or something like that while he's driving. There's quite a few other brothers in the space that actually do driving as well. Ballpoint, are you the one? I think it was you, or maybe it was somebody else. You left something in the you left a comment at the end of the video. But I wanted to say thank you for complimenting me on my whole setup here and what I'm trying to do. But yeah. All right. So I want to test this out a little bit as well. So we'll be using Go Playground, but I thought this was pretty cool. So if you have a sparse array, an array where most elements are set to their zero value, you can specify only the indices with values in the array literal, var, and then. But this is crazy that you have curly braces for an array, like, and that's crazy to me because of I'm used to having square brackets. So that's something to get used to. This creates an array of 12 ints with the following values 1 and a whole bunch of zeros, then 4. And the reason why you have that here. Oh, give me a sec here. I noticed that looks a little bit on the blurry side. Oh, give me a sec. Let me get something to wipe that off. That looks a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, you touch your phone all day with greasy hands and everything. So I'm good on battery too. So this is not too bad. I need to get like a cable so I can like connect this just in case it's low on battery or something like that and it could charge. But yeah. So I thought this is pretty interesting in terms of the syntax for defining an array. Now another thing is it looks like you have to define its size. Oh, it must be a type specified. There are two different ways you can specify this creation array and some no values are. So it's like we know what the size of the size of this array is. Again, this could be the statically typed language and how it's a little bit more strict. Um, and you'll see that I'm going slow. Like I've spent a lot of time just on this one page here, but I really want to understand it while I talk to you all and talk you through it. Talking you through it helps me understand it better. So we see here we have 1, and then we have 5. So with 5, what happens here? Okay, I just gotta move my hand out of there. But with 5, what happens here is that you have 5 colons. So that means indice 5. Well, indice 5, since we know that it starts at 0, that should be position 6. So let's count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at indice 5, we want the value to be 4, and then 6, and then for the following one. And then at indice 10, which will be position 11 of the array, we want that to be 100. Oh, okay. That's pretty interesting, yeah. Grab second gear, Eddie. Hey man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through. Um, yeah, ballpoint. Yeah, okay. So it was you. I just remember that it was an S. I think it said something else, but I'm not sure. But maybe you like change your name or something. I don't know. 2Triv 211. Appreciate you. Peace to you too, brother. Your setup is really cool. Yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm trying to get it better and refine as I go along. I might change the color of this the chats, but I'm actually liking it, and I've been replaying some of my old stuff or my last stream and seeing where I can make improvements. Okay, excuse me. So yeah, this is pretty cool. So you use 0 and then 100 and then 15. So that's at the end, and then it just fills in zeros in the what's it called in between. So that's pretty cool. All right, so we'll actually try that. Um, let's see here. All right, probably just have it zoomed in like this. Yeah, this works out well. All right, when using an array literal, and we'll actually code this up in the Go playground. I think, yeah, so we'll read to right above slices, and then we'll actually start coding this up so we can kind of play around with it. When using an array literal to initialize an array, you can leave off the number and use dot 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 instead. Now, um, in JavaScript, this is the spread or rest operator, and it has a different meaning. So, or it has a different meaning and functionality. So you'll see a lot of these things in different places, and sometimes they have the same functionality, and sometimes they are totally different. You can use the equals equals, so that's just the comparison, and a not equal to compare arrays. All right, so x and then 3, so those two are the same. Using an array literal to a linearized array, you can leave off the number and use. Oh, okay. So this is how you initialize an array of Oh, I changed my name for now. Okay, cool. That's what I thought it was. Um, you can use. Okay, so right here by using this. What do they call this? Triple dots. So uh, I don't know what to call that in this language. I don't want to say rest or spread operator. Because that could be detrimental to like my understanding and learning of all of this. Okay, so you can do comparison of arrays, and that'll print true. Go only has one-dimensional arrays, but you can simulate multi-dimensional arrays. What? One-dimensional arrays? I mean, what else would you use? I don't know why that trips me out because I've seen arrays of arrays. Okay, they just don't do multi-dimensional arrays. Go only has one-dimensional arrays, but you can simulate multi-dimensional arrays, like so var x array size 2 and then 3 int. I wonder what order. Okay, this declares x to be an array of length 2 whose type is an array of ints of length 3. This sounds pedantic, but there are languages with true matrix support. Go isn't one of them. Okay. Like most languages, arrays in Go are read and written using bracket syntax. All right, cool. That's how you address, the indices. So, for instance, here, this means the first position in that array, and the 2 would be count as the third position. So pretty much you just plus 1 whatever you see in those brackets, and that goes for, I want to say, pretty much any language, because they always use 0 as the first value. You cannot read or write past the end of an array or use a negative index. If you do this with a constant or literal index, it is a compile time error. An out of bounds read or write with a variable index compiles what fails at runtime with a panic. We'll talk more about panics in a panic and recover on page. So panics, if you ever use JavaScript, panic would be kind of simulating like try catches. They don't really have try catches in Go, from what I've seen so far. Gotta like cut these dang hangnails. Finally, the built-in function len, so that's for length, takes an array and returns its length. All right, great. Earlier, I said that arrays in Go, excuse me, this will not be a long stream, that's for sure. Arrays in Go's are rarely used explicitly. This is because they come with an unusual limitation. Go considers the size of an array or the size of the array to be a part of the type of the array. That makes an array that's declared to be 3 int a different type from an array that's declared to be 4 int. What? So that actually acts as a type? Okay. I wonder if like that helps with sorting or, filtering for arrays. That's huh. This also means that you cannot use a variable. There we go. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. This also means you cannot use a variable to specify the size of an array because types must be resolved at compile time, not at runtime. And that's another thing, like runtime versus compile time. So I don't really know the difference in any language, I guess. So compile time is like, when when it gets compiled into an executable that can be, packaged up and ran, right? And then I think of like runtime when that executable is actually ran, or like that executable is actually used. That's how I think of it. But I need to understand the distinction or the difference, especially in reference to Go or compiled languages, because I'm used to like interpreted languages. So there is no compilation step or anything else like that. At least not that's seen. Yeah, at least that's not seen. But um, like for instance, like JavaScript, there is no like I'm gonna compile this and I can move around with this executable. No, the JavaScript itself can be executed. What it does in the engine itself, like the runtime engine, is a little bit different because sometimes it'll compile it to bytecode or something like that, or split it up here and there. There's that part, but all right. All right, so let's read this on. This also means that you cannot use a variable to specify the size of an array because types must be resolved at compile time, not at runtime. Okay, so runtime. Oh, I think I get I understand that here. So at compile time, you need to know what that variable equals, and it may not equal something if you use a variable because it may change. So for instance, if I say, x will equal, if I do this input, or if I have an input of x equals 5, I may not be, it may not, X may not be 5 at actual runtime. It may only be that at compile time, right? Or that might be an issue. Let me get some water. Oh, sorry about that. Maybe I should mute. I'll mute from. I have this whole thing here. Yeah, so I'll probably start doing that just to be a little bit less rude because this mic is right next to my mouth while I'm drinking and stuff like that. So you guys hear everything. Excuse me for that. All right, so yeah, so X may not be resolved at compile time, but it'll be resolved at runtime due to because of the input. And that's something like I guess with dynamically typed languages you can get away with something like that. All right, what's more, you can't use a type conversion to convert arrays of different sizes to identical types because you can't convert arrays of different sizes into each other. You can't write a function that works with arrays of any size, and you can't assign arrays of different sizes to the same variable. What? You can't write a function that works with an array with arrays of any size, and you can't assign arrays of different sizes to the same variable. That sounds so fucking weird to me because when I think of something like, when I think of, and I was reading this section here, but when I think of like, I could just write a for loop and iterate over an array. Like, what do they mean by that? Like, in what instance where is that a problem? Okay. We'll learn how arrays work behind the scenes when we discuss memory layout in chapter 6. Okay. All right, so we'll almost get to code here. Um, due, due to these restrictions, don't use arrays unless you know the exact length you need ahead of time. For example, some of the cryptographic functions in the standard library return arrays because the size because the sizes of checksums are defined as part of the algorithm. This is the exception, not the rule. This raises the question: why such a limited feature, or why is such a limited feature in the language? The main reason why arrays exist in Go is to provide the backing store for slices, which are one of the most useful features in Go. All right. Before we get to slices, oh look, see you can do slices here and you define nothing. Okay. So let's go back and we'll go through this, play around in the Go playground, and then do that. So all right, I think I was just thinking about how I want to do something here. So excuse me while I work on this and set this up. So what I want is I want the I want full screen. That's not going to work. It can work if I allow it. All right, cool. So excuse me. Yeah, that does work better. At least it makes me feel better that I'm not like doing all this stuff in you guys' ear. All right, so zoom and pan, zoom and pan, zoom and pan. So let's see here. This doesn't totally help. It's not the clearest, but it'll work. Oh, shoot. Wow, what did I do? I think I got rid of this thing here. All right, great. So here we see that, well, you can barely see, but if you got a bigger screen, I'm going to look at this on my like larger TV. But here, this creates an array of 12 ints with the following values. All right. So what I want to do here is that I want to define what is. I don't know. Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay. So program exited. All right. So I was wondering what do they call that character? Oof, the comment character is in Go. So just found that out. All right. So I can do var um say 100 int, and then is it an equal? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Var array. Huh. Oh, okay. Why is it? That's a little bit odd. So, for instance, what I'm noticing here, and let me. Uh, uh, Here we go. That works a lot better. All Star G, welcome to the streamer, brother. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, let's do. All right, so that's zoomed in, so that looks a little bit better. Yeah, what's weird here is like, okay, var array. So I have the name of my actual variable here, and then 100 int. That like seems weird because usually if I'm doing something like if I'm doing like var string equals let's do here, and then I'll do x. All right, let's format that. All right, cool, and run. Waiting for a remote server. This is why it would be better to just do this locally too. Wow, this is a lot. This is weird. Wow, okay. Yeah, Playground might not be the best place for maybe a lot of people are using it. Anyways, beggars can't be choosers. It's free shit, right? So here we can see var, and then or we have the variable name or the variable declaration string. I don't know what you'd call that. Because you can, for instance, if you're in JavaScript, that would be like var, which you don't use anymore nowadays. It's only let and const, or mostly just let and const, mostly const, because you don't want to change things. And that's almost like JavaScript having loose typing, so to speak, or loose immutability, I should say, not typing. So, for instance, you would do let if you want to change it, const if you never want to change it, and most times you're not going to change it, especially if you have a certain type of linting um, library or something like that, or a linting spec that you have in place. It's not going to change it at all. Oh, okay, that's good. All right, can you see that? Oh, okay, a little bit. Yeah, you see the light right here. Yeah. So var x string. Var x string, and again, so you can actually do things like change this and do this in shorthand, and it should already know because of the type here that it's a string. So I can get away with doing that, and I don't need to say like var x string and all this other stuff. I can use the shorthand for this if I wanted to. I don't know if you can use a shorthand for this, but we'll see. Um, so there's that. right? And then here, actually, I don't need to not do that. So var array. So when I see, going back to the example, when I see this, I'm expecting like int to be on this side, but that's not how you do arrays. Okay. And then of course, curly braces. So for instance, this, I can say that, and then that will be it. Yeah, I should, this should run. X is declared not used. Okay. That's another thing about like Go. It's like it's very big on this. If it's not used, because honestly, you'll see this like same type of functionality or this same type of response, so to speak. This is like such a big thing in um, like when you're linting and you're actually going through and doing code reviews, like, hey, that value is not used, and you like if you have like a good IDE like a VS Code, it'll show you, it'll have highlighting to show that hey, that's not used, that's not used. In Go, it don't want it if it's not used, and that's really keeping the code base clean. And then making sure one thing that is repeated in this video that's on Free Code Camp is that you want something like that or Go, for instance, if you make any upgrades or anything else over time, you're not going to have just dead code sitting around in the actual language itself. It does not allow for it doesn't allow unused code. Sometimes you have to lint and do all types of other things to make sure that you don't have too much code bloat or unused code in your files. So that's actually something that's a kind of a relief, like it's not linting per se, but it's built-in restrictions to keep you on a singular path. All right, so let's run that. So we can see our result here, and let me move this bad boy down. Smooth it. Actually, let's move that in line with me. Okay. Cool. So yeah, you'll see that here. So where you have all of that's in place, and it gives you the 100 zeros and everything else. You might not see it because of the chat and everything, but yeah, it's there. That's kind of cool though. Yeah, that's really cool because I've never seen that in JavaScript, and it's not to say it's not there. I just ain't seen it. So if I wanted to say at position 6, again, we start at 0 when counting, so 5 plus 1 will be 6. We want to have 134. Let's run that. I'm not sure if you have to have anything preceding it or anything like that. So this might be a good reason why you want to do like have your own IDE and your own setup. You would have already gotten this return, but I kind of want to use Go Playground until I get my stuff set up properly. I'll probably end this stream after this is done, once we get through this. And then I'll probably take tonight to read through about slices. I kind of want to understand that a little bit more. And then I'll come back on another stream to go through this. Wow. It sucks. Mm. So while we wait for that, uh, talking about slices, which is pretty interesting. First line, most of the time, when you want a data structure that holds a sequence of values, a slice is what you should use. What makes slices so useful is that the length is not part of the is is not part of the type of for a slice. This removes the limitations of arrays. So some of the things that I was hesitant about earlier, slices solves, or slices is the answer for. Um, so we can write a single function that processes slices of any size. We'll cover function writing in chapter 5, and we can grow slices as needed after going over the basics of using slices in Go. We'll cover the best ways to use them. Working with slices looks quite a bit like working with arrays, but there are subtle differences. The first thing to notice is that we don't specify the size of the slice when we declare it. So the syntax is the same. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's go over to this here. I think that's pretty cool. That oh okay, it finally just showed up. Oh here we go. Yeah, so we can see that at 134 or at what's it called index or position 6, it actually has 134 and everything else was all zero. So 0 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. That's really cool. Okay. I mean, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy about that. Um, I think that's really good to know that type of syntax and everything. And it's the same thing with slices from the looks of it. All right, let's go here. I'm gonna set up something where it's just gonna be a button so I can have for reading and stuff like that. Since I have this set up and it's gonna be a more permanent part of the streams moving forward. Okay, so I mean, as I said here, I mean it's pretty much I think straightforward. I mean, we can do the length, but that it is what it is on that. So it wraps itself in the length function, and it gets fed the array or the slice. Okay. Okay, so this is not too big. Yeah, let's read through slices real quick. Um, Working with slices just specifies. Okay, working. I will reread that. We will reread this. Working with slices looks quite a bit like working with arrays, but there are subtle differences. The first thing to notice is that we don't specify the size of the slice when we declare it. So we see here we have that kind of empty brackets for arrays symbol here, or the open and close brackets, and then what are the types within that array. Um, we can even using dot 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 or the triple dots um, makes an array using makes a slice. Oh, okay, okay. So by having dot dot dot, if you don't want to define this, oh shoot, sorry about that. So there. Um, hmm, let's go ahead and change that up here. Zoom in. Trying to find like I'm noticing the camera it gets blurry out here, especially if there's something else that it's focusing on. But it gets blurry to the outside here, huh? And you know what? I can solve that by just moving things in here. Okay, so that's probably like the because that is the limitations of the camera or the outside of the camera there. Okay, cool. Let's move this over for chat. Actually, no, let's move this and move the book over. There we go. Cool. Uh, OX Hermes, appreciate you. Os, evening to you as well, brother. Okay. So using dot 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 makes an array. Using open and close brackets with nothing in between it makes a slice. So that's a big difference. So for instance, if you actually wanted to work with an array where you actually have a defined size or something like that, you would use um, you know triple dot. Or if you just want to work with an array, period. All right. Um, Period. Sorry, couldn't help it. This creates a slice of 3 ints using a slice literal. Just like arrays, we can specify only the indices with values in the slice literal. So we can see that here. So position 6, And then from there, and then position 11 for we have the value of 100. This creates. Oh, here we go. Um, okay, this creates a slice of 12 ints with the following values. You can simulate multi-dimensional slices and make a slice of slices. So slice, okay, int. You read and write slices using bracket syntax, and just like arrays, you can't read or write past the end of the negative end using a or right past the end or use a negative index. So that leads me to believe, okay, for instance, if we did that in JavaScript, which is why they're pointing this out, for instance, in JavaScript, you were able to do something like that. If I do -1, or yeah, I think it was like -1, that meant the last item in the array, no matter what the size is. If I did something like, uh, you know, yeah, usually -1. I don't know if you could do any other value, or was it -1, or was it length -1? I mean, it should be length -1, and that'll get you the last one. I forgot if it was -1. Oh, jeez. You read and write slices using bracket syntax, and just like arrays, you can't read and write past the end or use negative index, or use a negative index. X is 0, 10 equals 10, x2, print line 2. Okay. All right, we're almost done with slices, and then I'll end the stream. All right, so I'll read through the camera. So far, slices have seemed identical to arrays. We start to use the differences between arrays and slices when we look at declaring slices without using a literal. In this case, a number to define the actual size of the array, or define the size of the object. I didn't want to say like array because it's not an array. It's a slice. Excuse me. This creates a slice of ints. Slice since no value is assigned, x is assigned the 0 value for a slice, which is something we haven't seen before. Nil. Oh, okay. That's a new that's a new object type or result, because I mean I think of it like, for instance, if this was defined, this would be like an empty array in JavaScript, or if it was not defined, or null. Like I think this sounds like null to me, but yeah, it would be an empty array if you just say, hey, listen, var x equals, or const x let x equals, you know open and close brackets with nothing in the middle. And that'd be an empty array. Okay, let me get through this section. Um, we haven't seen uh, before nil. Uh, we'll talk more about nil in chapter 6, but it's slightly different from the null that's found in other languages. In in Go, nil is an identifier that represents. Oh, an identifier. I said object earlier, so nil is an identifier that represents the lack of a value for some types, like the untyped numeric constants we saw in the previous chapter. Nil has no type. Nil has no type, so it can be assigned or compared against values of different types. A nil slice contains nothing. A slice is the first type, right here. A slice is the first type we've seen that isn't comparable. Okay. It is a compile time error to use equal to equals to see if two slices are identical. Oh, okay. So that makes a kind of like a what do you call that? A case for using an array, maybe. All right, cool. Because an array, even if it is of the same type, and remember with arrays, they have, in a sense, two types to them. One, the type of items within that array, uh, like if it's an int, string, what have you, or and also the length of that array acts as a type as well, um, as we see here, as you see here. So, for instance, that three and int is kind of unique. Those are like that means it's like an int, an array of three int or something like that. I don't know how it would actually be seen, but that is pretty interesting. Okay. Um. All right. So the only thing you compare a slice with is nil. Oh. So even if that slice var int, huh? Okay. All right. You'd have to kind of test that. The reflect package contains a function called deep equal, and you'll see deep equal. Sorry, you'll see deep equal. I've seen it in like when you're doing jest and you're doing tests or unit tests. You might do it like a deep equal to see, hey, listen, are all the items within this object the same and have the same value? um, that can compare almost anything, including slices. It's primarily intended for testing, but you could use it to compare slices if you needed to. We'll look at it when we discuss reflection in chapter 14. Salute to the chat. That's funny. No smoke. No smoke. Salute to you, brother. This dude said, "Damn, Grizzly going through the Survivor scrolls." I need to get that. I need to get up on this for real. Hey man, yeah, but listen, you don't got to go through the scrolls, that's for sure. I did share a link earlier on in the stream, and I'm about to end it now because I'm tired. Oh, excuse me. I did share a video earlier on. This is a video from 4 years ago. Learn Go programming, Go Lang tutorial for beginners. Um, This is on freecodecamp.org's YouTube channel, which has done very well and has like provided a wealth of information. But we can see that it's pretty popular. So 2 million views from 4 years ago. But yeah, definitely go ahead and check out this video. I have a link to it earlier on in the chat, and I also have a link to it on the community tab for my channel here. But hey, guys, that's it for me tonight because I am tired. Oh goodness, I am tired. But I hope you guys learned something. We only got through what, a page and a half. But this is kind of like if it wasn't with you guys or anything like that, I'd probably be maybe going a little bit faster or something like that. Who knows? Or just going about it a different way. So going about it a different way. So I hope this helps you all. I hope this motivates you as well. Talking to Brother Oppo earlier, No Smoke 2 is you as well. I hope this motivates you all to want to go and learn. This is how quote unquote easy it is. This is how a person that is a systems and software engineer does it. There are people that are a lot smarter than me. They've already read these books in like one weekend. But there's Udemy courses, YouTube courses, or courses and videos on YouTube. There are books, of course, as well, if that's easier for you. But there's so many ways that you can actually gain this type of information. Hey, grab second gear Eddie. Peace to you too, brother. Appreciate you joining the stream. But there's so many ways that you can get this information. Like you can listen to it if you're an OTR trucker or something like that, or long hauler or something like that. You don't need to be doing all this wild, crazy stuff or being in classes. Now, classes might be good for you because that's how you learn or something like that. But the best way you think that you can actually learn or pick something up, do that. There is something for it. Don't act like there isn't. Go ahead and get started with it. All right, my head is hurting, and I'll leave it at that. With that being said, love you guys all. Wish you guys all the best in your studies and endeavors. But this is how I'm doing it. Hey, man, yeah, I'm glad it's motivating y'all. I really am. I really hope it helps everybody in their own way. to really not just get the bag, but get a better way of living, a better life, and doing the things that you actually want to do and the way you actually want to do it. Um, I've done a lot. I show a lot in so many different ways, but I work hard for it. And yeah, I got like a couple minutes before I can go to bed here. But with that being said, I really mean it. Peace to y'all.